Recording their criminal act.
A Whistler gondola rider goes airborne.
Also, he was the passenger and lone survivor of a horrific car crash. How police figured out.
He's actually the driver. Plus,
that's going to have a dramatic effect on the demand for housing.
How a new immigration law could end up driving housing prices down in Vancouver.
German driving to the line! And a sterling performance from one of BC's own.
This is CTV News with Tamara Taggart and Mike Killeen.
Good evening. A risky stunt high above the ground in Whistler is getting a lot of attention online tonight.
Very large wooden boat, fully involved.
Oh, it'll shut us down for a little bit.
Flames tear through a boatyard in Souk. Could there be an arsonist on the loose?
It's a service being provided by the City of Victoria, and I use it.
Just have the impression that they're not particularly safe.
Victoria Council tweaks its new downtown parking plan, but will it be enough to get you into a parkade at night?
I'm Andrew Johnson. It's Valentine's Day. That means cards, flowers, and apparently manscaping. We'll have the story just ahead.
It's going to be a windy weekend all over Vancouver Island. Warnings are issued already. I'll have your full forecast coming up.
CTV News at 6 with Hudson Mack.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. We begin this evening in Souk, where it was all hands.
With the CTV News at 6.
Well, Ian, we are still following a developing story downtown. A crime scene is causing major traffic backups in parts of the core. Police have blocked off the area around the 4th Avenue flyover for the last 14 hours. This is a live shot of the area tonight. Investigators are looking for evidence after a man was stabbed this morning. He stumbled into the Delta Bow Valley Hotel and died from his injuries. As you can see, traffic finally starting to move a little bit better this evening. We will have an update from the scene.
Unholy behavior.
A minor cannot legally consent to a sexual relationship with a person who is in a position of trust.
Sex assault charges against a Calgary Catholic school teacher. What tipped off cops? Plus, paid to play?
If they're not going, they shouldn't get paid.
Teachers' conventions on, but how many of them are playing hooky? And rigged results? Canadian losers claim track tampering following their 4th place finish in Sochi.
CTV News with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. Police have now identified the victim involved in a stabbing early this morning. 50-year-old Carlton Edland of Calgary.
Today at 5, renewed hope to reopen the doors of St. Patrick's Church. Plus, charges are laid in 2 accidents where pedestrians were hitting crosswalks. And
A lot of roses. A lot of roses.
we find out your ideal Valentine's Day.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. A group.
Tonight, a win for Alberta's largest union in a labour battle with the province.
This will force the government to finally negotiate properly and fairly.
Allegations of a tampered luge track. The men's hockey team dominates and Canadians hold their breath while Chan skates for goal.
If there was, how are you going to prove it? If it was malicious, how would you know? It was what it was.
Marking an historic day by honouring Canada's 12-year mission in Afghanistan.
The province will be starting the day by lowering flags at all provincial buildings to half-mast. How many of you have got parents who have been to Afghanistan? Oh my gosh. They need a round of applause, you guys.
And going pink and then shaving it all off. Perspective from those raising money for kids battling cancer.
I thought since I didn't have to get rid of my hair that it would be nice that I could get rid of it because I'm going to grow it back anyway.
I'm meteorologist Giles Clausen. Warmest day of the month so far. It gets even warmer this long weekend. We'll talk about that and snow at 6:12.
Live from Edmonton, CTV News with CHERYL and DARYL McIntyre.
And good evening. We begin tonight with a legal victory for provincial employees.
tonight.
Concern over a proposed project west of Saskatoon.
It could be very dangerous for me.
Why some say their livelihood and their health is at risk. The finance minister reveals his latest budget.
Financial prudence now leads to financial prosperity in the future.
Is Ottawa coming through on Saskatoon's wish list? And prepare to pay more to drive in Saskatchewan.
This is CTV News with Rob McDonald and Chantal Huber.
Good evening. Concern is mounting.
Tonight, Ottawa sets the priorities for your money. The price for getting around gets steep. And do you have a problem with this logo?
This is the CTV News with Danelle Boyven and Dan McIntosh.
Good evening, everyone. Excitement and disappointment. That is.
Today, Prince Albert faces another tax hike.
Our taxes did go up a little bit more in the last couple of years than some of the other cities.
A controversial drink or dare game makes its way to Saskatchewan.
I got nominated and I removed myself from the tag and I was like, this is stupid.
And in sports, the Raiders face the top-seeded Oil Kings. It's Thursday, February 13th. I'm TEENA Monteleone. Prince Albert.
Welcome to your CTV Web News. I'm Tyler Esquivel. It might have been a nippy afternoon on Saturday, but that didn't stop snowmobile enthusiasts from supporting a good cause. The 36.
Tonight, freezing cold.
Stay at home. Just stay at home underneath my blanket.
Winnipeg fights off the winter blues while trying to keep warm. And when a winter warm-up may be in sight. Also tonight, rallying behind the wheel.
This is the fight for democracy.
Why Winnipeggers won't let Ukraine's politics out of the spotlight. Plus, stolen skeleton.
And I look to the corner where I always have him sitting, and my Mr. Bones skeleton with the top hat's missing.
Thieves offer Mr. Bones Pizza an appetizing trade for their special statue.
CTV News, live from downtown Winnipeg, with CHERYL Holmes.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Old Man Winter has been relentless.
Today on CTV News at noon.
A class action lawsuit over the deadly mall collapse in Elliott Lake gets the go-ahead. An off-duty police officer is killed in a highway crash between Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury. A UK link to a suicide bombing in Syria.
CTV News at noon with Sasha Novak and weather specialist Marina Moore.
Good afternoon. A judge has given the green light to a class action lawsuit over the deadly.
A local businessman holds a news conference to explain how the Parkway girder recall has hurt him. She found someone remote viewing her personal computer. Then things got worse. And Valentine's Day through the years with a sweet Windsor couple.
CTV News with Jim Clayton.
Good evening. Highway slowdowns are to be.
Tonight, a London company lands an historic manufacturing contract.
You should be looking ahead with great confidence and all sorts of excitement because the road ahead has never been brighter.
How it could change our region's economic outlook. Plus, justice for Joe the cat. Sarnia police charge a man with 2 counts of animal cruelty. And a Valentine's Day to remember.
Excited, scared, slowly losing my mind. I'm sure it'll all sink in at some point.
As couples embark on a lifetime together.
CTV News with Tara Overholt.
Good evening.
Today on CTV News at noon. Premier Kathleen Wynne is in Cambridge after the Liberals' disappointing by-election shutout. And going for the gold in Sochi. High hopes for Canada's Patrick Chan.
It looks like a great weekend for outdoor activities, including snowmobiling. We have sun, cloud, and a few flurries. Your full 7-day forecast is coming up.
The Guelph Lady Griffs were shooting for their 13th straight win as they hosted Waterloo in their playoff opener. CTV News starts now.
Tonight,
the small town of Punchville is still celebrating Dara Howell's gold medal performance. Her parents have just returned from the games. Tonight, they tell us what it was like and share some amazing stories and pictures.
Dara's won. Dara has a gold medal, and it was like, I think I just screamed and screamed and screamed.
He has coached Canadian and world champions and knows what Olympic pressure is all about. Coming up, we watch the men's figure skating finals with Doug Lee and find out what advice he gave to his former skater, Brian Orser, before today's competition.
He's watched everybody else struggle to get it, and all of a sudden, here we go again.
Valentine's Day can be about a lot of different things, including chocolate, roses, even wooden spoons. But one thing's for sure.
Coming up, it's all about love, honey.
CTV News with Tony Grace and Jane Pritchard.
Good evening. Parents
The pressure to make history.
You can't make a mistake or miss a step.
The stumble to silver in Sochi.
No matter the medal, Patrick Chan is forever a champion and an inspiration at his hometown high school.
Calling for changes to child welfare.
The province can honor him by considering those recommendations seriously.
Finding hope in horror. And barreling up the U.S. East Coast.
I saw probably about 10 cars ahead of me. I started watching cars bounce off of the center divider.
The storm system set to cross the border into Canada. CTV News starts now.
CTV News with Ken Shaw and Michelle Dubé.
Good evening. Poised to take the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Another snowstorm, another long commute into work and school today. Ottawa is getting the edge of a storm system that wreaked havoc on the south and northeast United States yesterday.
Election talk in high gear. Quebec's budget is next week. Looking for clues in the deaths of a couple in Terrebonne. And what if your one and only doesn't have to be just one?
CTV News with Mitsumi Takahashi.
Good afternoon, Quebec.
Tonight, winter weary. Cancellations and delays pile up ahead of more wild weather.
We left here and went to Gander, and they couldn't land because there was too much ice on the runway, apparently.
Guard contracts. New Brunswick corrections officers demand more money.
There's nothing between you and your clients. Things can be really good, or things can go sour in a hurry.
And what's in a name? Viola Desmond Day emerges as a contender for a February holiday.
We should have a Viola Desmond Day.
Live from our Maritime News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Kayla Hounsell.
Good evening, everyone. We begin